Chicago's vibrant sailing community is centered in Monroe Harbor, where one will find the main facilities of both the Columbia Yacht Club and the Chicago Yacht Club. Both have much to offer, but today we will focus on the Columbia Yacht Club with its storied history and remarkable waterborne facility. You might say the Columbia Yacht Club arose from the ashes of the Great Chicago Fire, as did Chicago's bid to host the World's Fair and Columbian Exposition of 1893. The club was founded in 1892, and the headquarters was a shack built upon a barge. The club grew, and the shack grew, to a two-story building. Chicago city ordinances are extremely restrictive when it comes to the building of facilities on the waterfront, so one can imagine that there may be good reason for a yacht club's penchant to locate its headquarters on a boat. World War I sapped membership and resources from the club, which drove this facility toward dilapidation. But a reinvigoration occurred in 1925, and that resulted in the acquisition of the Père Marquette, a 193-foot wood and iron-plated steamboat to serve as the new club headquarters. This solution, unfortunately, only lasted 12 years, and in 1937, the ship was towed 6 miles into Lake Michigan and glamorously sunk by Coast Guard shellfire. She was replaced by the SS Florida, a 213-foot side-wheeled steamer built in 1882. The SS Florida fulfilled the needs of the club in grand style until a galley fire ignited in 1955, which sunk the Florida at the dock. Undaunted, the membership raised her and kept her as the operational headquarters for almost another 30 years. As the club entered the 1980s, it continued to grow and flourish. The membership numbers outgrew the 100-year-old SS Florida facility, so an effort was initiated to find a larger and more suitable ship to serve as the club headquarters for the future. Motor vessel Abigweit, a 372-foot ice-cutting Canadian ferry, was decided upon as a suitable replacement. The Abigweit was built between 1944 and 1946 for the benefit of the Canadian National Railway to connect Canada's Prince Edward Island to the mainland. The ship was designed to easily take on and transport rail cars full of supplies for the island and make its way out through the icy Canadian waters. At the time she was built, she was the most powerful icebreaker in the world, displacing over 7,000 tons. She was also the heaviest vessel ever constructed in Canada. Her hull design allowed her bow to ride up over the top of hard ice, subsequently settling down over the top of it to break it. This was expected to be a more sustainable design as opposed to a ship that would ram the ice with the forward portion of the lower hull. Abigweit has 8 mammoth diesel engines. 2 diesel engines would service 1 large electrical engine that directly controlled a propeller. Multiply this configuration by 4 to support the 2 propeller shafts forward and the 2 propeller shafts aft. The overall capacity of those diesel engines was 13,500 brake horsepower. This made her incredibly maneuverable, which was anticipated to be necessary in ice-packed conditions. It also allowed her to move virtually horizontally if needed for docking operations. She had sophisticated pumping systems for the multi-use fuel tanks found in the lower portions of the ship, which could also serve to be filled with water ballast. In addition, she also had ballast tanks near the upper decks to help rock the boat to cause list to help clear it if stuck in ice. She could carry 950 passengers and 19 railway cars or 60 automobiles. When she was built, the cost of fuel was extremely low compared to today, and her fuel consumption of 55 metric tons per day when fully operational was tolerable, but the energy crisis of the 1970s and the migration away from railway dependence made her viability for ongoing service less and less suitable. The Columbia Yacht Club membership raised funds through a private bond issuance to replace the SS Florida. Convincing the Canadian government to sell to a private U.S. yacht club took some convincing. But in the end, this option was more appealing than sending the Abbey to the scrapyard, so the deal was culminated. The next challenge became bringing the Abbey to Chicago from Pictou, Nova Scotia. Bringing a private vessel of that size to commercial seaways requires a qualified crew. In addition to soliciting volunteers from its own organization, the yacht club leadership had to leverage a pre-existing member's affiliation to the Merchant Marine Academy to source qualified merchantmen. 11 volunteers were secured. The crew was further bolstered by former retired crew of the Abigweit, including her captain, Captain Pike. In the end, 12 to 15 merchant marine officers, 6 former crew members, and 40 Columbia Yacht Club volunteers, to my understanding, were poised to bring the Abigweit from the east coast of Nova Scotia to Chicago. The ship was strategically provisioned with enough fuel, water, and food to get to Montreal, Quebec, as fuel and provision costs were more expensive than anticipated on the remote eastern seaboard of Canada. It was expected that obtaining provisions and fuel at a less expensive rate would be attainable in Montreal. The Abigweit departed on April 5th. Some noteworthy observations of the crew from the first leg of Pictou to Montreal were the very unique and prominent sounds of the ship's hull pushing through the ice floes through the Gulf of St. Lawrence and the St. Lawrence River. The sounds were powerful and perhaps a bit unnerving for those unaccustomed to making their way through up to 16 foot of thick ice. At one point within the first 2 days, while making their way through the ice, the ship suddenly rolled 30 degrees to either side, which caught the entire crew by surprise. It dislodged and shifted a lot of items in the ship and threw people hither and thither. No one was injured, but some items were lost, such as the ship's dinnerware. The ship experienced thick fog in a lot and was ordered to stand fast until the fog cleared. While waiting, the ship experienced a power surge and subsequent blackouts. The crew had to restart all the ship's systems from scratch in that lock in no visibility conditions. The Abigweit ended up barely having enough oil and water to make it to Montreal, as one of the oil tanks had leaked. Nonetheless, the initial leg was successfully completed, and the ship was re-provisioned and underwent minor repairs in Montreal. After Montreal, the traverse through the Great Lakes was less eventful, and a routine emerged, though the crew did encounter a storm in the last days of the journey, which gave them great appreciation for the bridge design and general sturdiness of this vessel. The ship eventually completed this journey within a total of 9 days, arriving on April 14, 1983, and the ship initially docked at Chicago's Navy Pier. The Abigweit was subsequently moved into its current location as a permanent waterborne vessel on Chicago's lakefront. The next projects involved the conversion of standalone plumbing and electrical systems to shore-based facilities, and this was no small effort. And of course, the plans to convert the ship's passenger waiting area to a prominent bar lounge meeting place for the members was high on the list of renovations. Today, the Columbia Yacht Club serves Chicago by providing the public and the membership with sail training, sailboat race organization and scheduling, race training programs, raising money for charities, providing summer programs for children, hosting sailing outreach programs for veterans, disabled, and children without needs, maintaining racing and cruising fleets, acting as a networking venue for sailors, leadership opportunities and committee participation, hosting seminars, providing a venue for private events such as weddings, receptions, anniversaries, or birthdays, offering a full-service restaurant and bar, catering services, and generally providing a spectacular view of the Chicago skyline. A final note I want to leave you all with is to acknowledge the upcoming Open House Chicago event. I'm releasing this video just ahead of Open House Chicago, which is an event where many prominent facilities and structures in Chicago open their doors to the public. The Columbia Yacht Club is no exception. So if anything in this video elicited further curiosity on your part, you can either leave a comment or visit during Open House Chicago. Every year this event takes place either on the second or third weekend of October. I want to thank all my subscribers for your support. I really appreciate it. If you've stayed to watch this video through the end, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. This is Sailor Eric. Thanks for watching.